Hi everyone, it's Vivian. I am currently 11 days post-op and I wanted to provide you an update since my last video. At my last video, I had just gotten the bandage off. They took out the 22 staples that they had in my arm and then they put steri strips. So on day 7 post-op, which was Tuesday, I had my first physical therapy session. And while I was very nervous about going, I knew it was something that I had to do, and I was just nervous because of the pain that I thought I was going to be anticipating. So let me tell you a little bit about that first session. I went there, they had the orders from the physician on how they wanted to move my progression by certain weeks. And so they looked at the whole scripting there. They asked me a few questions regarding my pain level and my abilities and things that I can do. And then that took about 20-25 minutes. And then the last portion of it, we started with the exercises. Now, at the beginning, when you do physical therapy for your shoulder replacement, they are going to be doing the work for you. So your physical therapist will do the work for you. And they actually start like doing some movements little by little, making more and more progression so that you start getting some flexibility and some range in your arm. Like I said, I was very hesitant. I thought it would be painful. But one of the things I made sure to do, which is what I've heard about, and I was also recommended by my physician's office, was to make sure that you take your pain medication 1 hour before going to physical therapy. And the reason why they said 1 hour is because it takes about an hour for that to fully kick into your system and to start getting some relief. So again, while I was very hesitant, it kind of felt like a massage to me because they're doing the movements for you, and each time it's getting easier and you're getting more range. And so they had done it side to side. They did it starting lifting up. And I would say the only thing that hurt, and I had mentioned it to her, was at the very end, they did some exercises that were more on a rotational basis, and that's where I could feel most of the pain. Now, I'm thinking that for me and me only, that this could be because about 20 years ago I had rotator cuff surgery in the same shoulder, and I never regained that full motion within the shoulder for the flexibility. So that could be why it hurt a little bit. But all in all, that first session went well. At the very end of at the very end of the physical therapy for 10 minutes, they put an ice bag on your shoulder just to make sure that any of the movement that they were doing, to cut down on any swelling. So there was 10 minutes of icing at the very end, and really afterwards at my home, I was okay. One of the other things that they said I could do at home was to take off the sling. As much as possible, they said, try and take off the sling so that you get more of that stretch in your arm. That really helps with your arm and the healing process as well. But if I happen to go out to the grocery store with my daughter, I will definitely put on that sling because, you could get bumped by someone by accident, and everything's healing right now, so you don't want it to get knocked out of place. So if you go out, make sure you're wearing that sling. So one of the other things I can tell you is I had 3 physical therapy sessions this past week. So the one on Tuesday, I had one on Thursday, and the last one was yesterday on Friday. And in the second 2 physical therapy sessions, or the last 2 that I just had, what I did when I came in for the first 10 minutes, they actually put a heat pack on my arm, and that's to help relax and loosen up the muscles within your arm. And sat there for about 10 minutes. I put a little timer on, sat there for 10 minutes, and then went into the exercises again. And I lay on the table, and they're actually doing the work for me. And in some sense, which sounds kind of weird, it feels a little bit like a massage, or it does at least to me, because they're doing the work for you. They're doing it slowly, building up your range, moving your arm out, moving your arm up. They do still do some of that rotator flexibility. So again, for me, that's a little bit more, I can feel it. But I know that all of this that they're doing is my road to recovery. So I'm seeing little baby steps that to me are a huge milestone. For example, being able to wash both of my hands underneath the running water, that's awesome. I see that as a baby steps to healing. Now, can I really move my arm out? No, but at least I can lean forward and get my hands into the running water and put soap on and be able to wash both of them comfortably. Yesterday was the first day that I was able to wash my hair with both of my hands. So that also was a big milestone to me. Being able to do some of those things that you take for granted when your shoulders are working, when your muscles are working, are huge accomplishments when you're recovering from major surgery like this. So wanted to let you know that the physical therapy, I can really see some small baby step improvements, which again to me are huge milestones. And I look forward to going next week to physical therapy as well. I have 3 sessions next week as well. Looking forward to see what other type of range I can get in my arm. But one of the things that I wanted to say is make sure you do take your pain medication at least 1 hour beforehand, so it makes when you get home a little bit more manageable if you do have any pain. And out of the 3 days last week, I did not have to use an ice pack at home afterwards. So that was pretty good for me. And what I look forward to, like I said, I'm seeing these little improvements day by day, but being home and recovering is getting kind of boring. So I look forward going back to work. I will not be back next week because I don't think with how this is feeling and how I'm healing, I'll be able to spend a full 8 hours or 9 hours sitting at my computer doing my project management and program analyst type work. And part of the reason why I say that is today it was a gorgeous day outside. I wanted to be out and enjoy it, but at about noon I was extremely exhausted, and so I sat down and took about a 2-hour nap. So I felt guilty about not being able to enjoy the beautiful day, but I had to give myself some slack knowing that I am recovering, and this is part of the healing process. So I look forward to connecting with you guys next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.